of the week again. Sit back, relax, we got the brain of band. No need to stress in the house, is Van Bellen. The game is windsurfing, you can't yell them or tell them. We get the news, the views, the win biz. The brand's gear tips plus the world's best quiz. The Cubs, PWA. We're professionals without the pay. There's nothing in pole dancing that we won't chat. From tandem boards to a windsurfing cat. It's your one-stop shop for a laugh and listen. Tune in each week or you'll be doing the missing.
G'day, Benny.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We are here. We've got 8 live viewers, Mr. Van Bellen.
Yeah, no, it's good because I will be interested with today because even though I did follow the Sylt event, I am actually very curious for your opinion on it all, especially the last day as well, because if any of you saw it, there's some pretty chunky waves. That was actually hectic, wasn't it?
There is a slight problem. I wasn't there on the last day, but we're going to be talking all about that. So if you are tuned in, you're wondering what the hell are these boys on about? This is the podcast. We don't know where it's going to go, but we're going to have a loose theme, which is the PWA, IWT, WWA, whatever it's called now, I forgot. But the World Cup in Sylt has just happened. I've just been there, and we had to extend the competition. There's a lot going on. There was no live stream on the weekend. Everyone's going, Ben, where's the live stream? Bing, 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 bing. So we're going to cover all that. We're going to talk about Sylt in general. So if you have any questions, I will be here. And if we're lucky, we might be getting a very special guest before he jets off to Maui to do the final wave event of the year where the world title will be decided. Ooh,
yeah.
Exactly.
Who could that be?
Who could it be?
So tell us, Benny, what was your overall experience in Sylt like? How was your impression?
Sylt. It's changed. It's changed over the years, but essentially it's still very much the same. It's a big competition. Actually, it was mad. I turned up because, usually Sylt's a 10-day event. We had that's the point. We were on the podcast when we were, talking last week or whatever it was. And I had like a bit of a panic moment because someone told me the dates and I was going to be there the day after the starting date and then going back the day before. And I was really confused and I was still confused apparently when I got there. So just to give you the idea, usually we turn up on whatever, we have the registration day, then we go into it, and then the Sunday it still can compete, and then there's a prize giving on the Sunday. It's a bit of a rush, but that's what happens. And they have to have it at 3 o'clock or a certain time. This year I was told it was shorter. So I just assumed, and the only thing I found out on the podcast that it wasn't, I assumed the event had got shorter because there was some budget cuts and So I arrived there on the Saturday. Usually I arrive there on the Friday. And I was seeing all these pictures and the opening ceremony had already been. So I was like, oh, shit, I'm a day late. So I was like, okay, I didn't realize that. I thought everything was just starting a day late. So that was already the first thing. I was like, what's going on? And then I get down the beach on the first day and there's no live streaming. So I was like, oh, okay. Oh, when's it starting? And they said, the live stream starts on Monday. I was like, oh. So I'm like, and people are going, I'm getting all these messages going, beep, 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 Ben, where's the live? What's going on? There's racing kicking off. And I'm like, I'm just standing there watching the racing going, okay. So, so for anyone just to answer a few of these questions, because I was as confused as anybody, I'll be honest. I don't actually know this. But there was some budget cuts. And the guys who do the live stream in Sylt, it's a massive deal. They were streaming in 4K this year. If anyone tuned into the streaming when it was happening, it's a proper deal. Their camera, their land camera, one of them, it's got like $100,000 lens on it. It could zoom out from the beach to the freaking beacon at the back. It was ridiculous. They had 2 drone setups. So when they do the streaming, don't think it's just some 2-bit operation. They pay some random dude to come in and, it's a full production crew. They've got a whole room with TVs everywhere. They've got like 4 guys in the director's booth thing. It's a massive, it's a big deal. So they're like, we do it or we don't do it. We don't do it half-ass. So for them, you know, when they have a budget cut, 2 days of streaming and then obviously not having on the Sunday, that's actually a lot of savings. But it was a gamble. It was definitely a gamble because obviously, which we're going to come on to, the event finished officially, the racing and everything. The judges had all booked to go home. I had booked to go home. Finished on Saturday night. Now, usually it's Sunday, but it finished Saturday night. We ended up running the competition. You know, we did the slalom, we did the freestyle. It was all going good. We thought we were going to get the wave, and then the rain came, and it all got a bit messed up. And they didn't quite finish because, you know, it was literally dark. When we finished the women's final, Sol de Greek had won and it was going off. It was literally black. It couldn't really see. You could on the cameras because it changed the ISO and it looks not, you know, it looks kind of, but it looking real time, it was dark. And they still had the semi-finals, the men and the final. And then you're going, well, we can't do it on Sunday. There's nobody booked. Everyone's going home. And then everyone was talking and they go, how can we get this far and not have a result? This is ridiculous. And it wasn't that the event didn't, you know, there were still people around because the event hadn't finished. They just had this fight, like basically they wanted to have a media day and the prize given and everything so they could get the sponsors and do all this stuff. But obviously this all changed. And then they worked out which judges had got later flights and who was going to be there and could they make it work? Could they do something? And that's literally how it happened. So I see a lot of comments saying about the PWA. This is not the PWA. This is the event organizer. You have to remember, and I keep telling people this, the PWA are the organization that come and do a job for the organizers. The organizer comes to the PWA and say, I've got 6 days, I've got 10 days, I've got whatever days. I want slalom, I want freestyle. How much money will it cost for you to bring the best people in the world and the judges and that? And how much does it cost for that amount of days? We don't, as the PWA say, the PWA don't get to choose what happens within the event. You know, they come and do their thing within the time period. But
do they? I guess the PWA also sets a standard and says, well, if we're going to come for this 10-day event, we want a live stream for the 10 days, or like how did that work?
100%. So there was probably a chance that it might not have been live streamed. So, you know, there's a fight going on with the PWA because they want live streaming. You know, there was budget cuts on lots of different levels, which some things obviously are not wanted. There was no women's foiling slalom, you know, which was a real shame because that was a miss. I think they would have had some great racing this week.
So what was that again? That was another budgetary thing. I mean, what was the issue there?
Again, I don't know. I wasn't privy to the behind the scenes talks. I don't know. As far as I understand it, it just wouldn't have happened if they hadn't have cut something out. Should it have been the women? That's a different question. But that is what happened. I think it depends on how many. I think there was something to how many women actually entered. It wasn't very many because Sylt is not a desirable place to go on a foil as a woman. Now, obviously, there are some riders that will dispute that and say, no, shut up. That we like it, and that's okay. But if it's less than, I don't want to say the numbers, but it wasn't very many people. That's what I heard. I can't officially say that, but that's the rumor I heard as well. So there was a few things at play. It wasn't as clear cut as, oh, we just cut them out. As far as I know, again, I don't know if I should be saying that, but that's the truth.
And with the live stream, because it was at 4K, did that add to the expense trying to broadcast it in 4K?
I don't think so.
Okay, because it's the first time I've actually seen a 4K broadcast, actually, just about any sport almost. And I was sort of wondering, you know, I think, you know, 1080 is obviously fine, but it was interesting that it was 4K as well. You know,
the thing is, these guys, they do it or they don't do it. They bring everything. It's not like they can do it cheaper. It's just that the Sylt event now is run by a TV company. So this was the strange thing. I was like, well, if you're run by a TV, how have we not got live stream on the first days? But it's like subsections of a big company. So they've got budgets, they've got cameramen. You know, if they want to bring an extra cameraman, it costs this much budget. You know, they really put all their money into the drones. So on the last day, when it was absolutely pissing down, I got told there's one cameraman. I was like, what? And you've got all this money, and you're like, one cameraman? And they go, yeah, because we've got the money into the drones, because we think that's the best thing to cover windsurfing. The problem is, when it's pissing down with rain, you go back to the one cameraman. So they had to then find another camera, you know, to do the job for when it was raining. So again, it was fine. But you can see there are limitations with budget. People don't realize, like, when everyone's saying, oh, just extend it, just extend it. If those judges have all got tickets booked home and haven't got accommodation, it's a massive, you know, like, people have to realize it's a massive undertaking, these events. They're not just, you know, some guy opens the back of his van up and goes, right, okay, you get the red rash vest, you go, okay, we'll judge that.
It depends which event you're talking about.
Well, exactly. No, but some of those events are the best events, don't get me wrong. But you know, it's massive. Sylt is a big deal. And they've got, you know, they're a big company. So they have these things like, okay, we want to do this at this time, this at this time, this at this time. You're like, you do know this is windsurfing. This is not so easy, you know. But again, let's be honest. It was an epic event, really. It couldn't have gone much better. They had sun all week. It got really stormy and crazy at the end, and then finished in the dark with a 15-year-old wind in the waves. And they had to extend to a next day, which is some gnarly, horrible onshore, like, difficult, no doubt about it. Like, they had a meeting in the morning, and honestly, I heard a few people say they were like worried to go out because it was breaking on the breakwater. There's like concrete and stuff. We had the freestyle world title in, you know, amazing freestyle conditions. Leonard Neubauer's coming in going, this is the best freestyle we've had. And it's offshore. They're filming and judging with drones, each heat man on man. And you're like, what the hell? And then they have the foil racing, which was, you know, great for the whole week. So, you know, you look at that event, still I always say every year, gets a bad rap. But actually, you look at the event and what it delivered, pretty amazing, really.
Yeah, no, I agree, actually, because you can sort of look at it and go, it'd be more impressive if they were in Fiji or somewhere like, you know, exotic. But at the end of the day, you've got a lot of people that seem to be taking an interest on the shore. They've got this whole setup there. You know, you've been there. I haven't been there before, but just looking from the outside in, it's quite impressive to see how interested all the people that visited. You know, they're all there on the beach. They seem to obviously be taking a real big interest in it all, and that's cool to see for windsurfing as well. You know, there's a lot of people there, isn't there? And then the whole setup looks really impressive. And also, I was just
good. Just going to say, like what you just said then, is I wasn't there on the Sunday, but the Sunday's the big day, you know, the public come, which was weird because there wasn't going to be any action on the Sunday. It was going to be prize giving and media stuff, but they obviously come for the weekend. So their idea is they have the finals on the Saturday, they get these, you know, things, and everyone's ready for the Sunday. Then they have the prize giving, they have interviews, they have signings and all this stuff. But actually, as it worked out, they have the world's biggest storm. And then the best guys in the world are out there trying to survive, getting beaten up, and then coming in. And because the water is literally up to the breakwater, because it's so onshore and it's just pumping up water, they're literally coming off the beach to just crowds of people, which is pretty cool. Doesn't happen very often, that in windsurfing.
No, it's super cool. But yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen that video from the last day, even though it's not a commentated video, but it's as someone who likes going in the waves, I was looking at that, and I don't think it looks worse than it actually is. Even like, I look at it, I'm looking at the size of the mast, and they're sort of just going up and down behind swells, and there's like a mast high shore break, which pretty much like, I'm just saying, how do you even get off the beach? Like, there's nuts.
Well, that's the hardest thing. It sounds daft, but that's the hardest thing, getting off the beach. There's been heats before when I was coming up. Bernd Flessner made it through heat when I was coming up. He was getting on a bit in his professional career, and people were like kind of writing him off, and he got out. Some of the other kids didn't get out, and he was going through heat. I remember reading it. Like, I think I wasn't there. It was like my early days of thinking and going to sort of like, oh my God, what is this place? There's professional windsurfers not getting off the beach. And it's not till you get there and you realize it doesn't matter how good you are. If you got bad luck or bad timing, and you've got onshore wind and this big shore break, you're just a sitting duck. You literally just sitting duck.
I would have actually. It would have been cool. I don't know. Maybe it was somewhere on the video and I missed it, but I would have loved to have seen, a camera following someone as they went out. I'd love to see how they actually did get out, because there's probably no breaks in the swell, right? It was just relentless whitewater by the looks of it.
It's always pretty broken up. Again, depends on the swell. But looking at the video, because obviously wasn't there on Sunday, I was flying home. It looked very broken up. So that's what it usually is like. But still, sometimes you just get, when it's that big, you get one out of nowhere. And it wasn't that windy. Speaking to Mark, they were on 4750. So although it was a storm, when it's that onshore, you've got to take a pretty big sail as well. But for people who are just tuning in, we are hoping to get Mr. Marc Pare. He's busy packing at the moment. I just seen on the Simmer Style Instagram site, he's at the warehouse. He went to Sweden after Germany and he's packing all his stuff, taking all the goodies, and then he's off to Maui. So he hopefully will be dropping in. We'll keep talking until he drops in.
You must be a happy chappy, Benny. Whenever Mark's winning a heat, I can hear your commentating voice just heighten up a little bit. So, it's Mark.
It is exciting. Cool. It's obviously he's a teammate. Okay, whatever. But he's also a mate. So, if he's going to win, you get a bit nervous. Because I can't affect the result. I'm not a judge. So I don't give a shit. I can be a bit biased. It's fine. I want him to win a world title. Marcelio's had a few now. So you're like, Costa's had a few. You're like, come on, Pare.
I don't know if you affect it. I think you do affect it, Benny, because like Brasinho would do a double and you go, oh yeah, he's done a double. And then Mark does, did you see that double? It's just, and then the judges hear it. The judges are
nowhere near me. That's what people need to realize. The judges don't listen to me.
I'm only kidding.
But I will say, it's different on the beach commentary. If you're on the beach commentary and you are like going, and pumping the crowd up, it's like football. It really does make a difference, because you can make something feel, especially at the end of the heat. It's really difficult to change.
Yeah. No, but it's super cool that Mark won as well, because obviously Marsilio Brown and himself were neck and neck in the title race, and Brasinho is probably the man to be. I mean, even though Bant obviously won the event last year, but obviously Marsilio's a pretty big name in Maui, so it's going to be an interesting last event as far as the men's are concerned. Anyway,
it's very interesting matchup now. Like, that couldn't have gone much better for Mark in terms of results.
He kind of had to almost win it, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, he had that do or die heat. There was a freaking crazy semi-final with him, Costa and Brown, and Alessio, poor Alessio. You're thinking that is the death of all deaths, but you might find out that heat could be pivotal for the whole year, because if Brown had been on the other side of the draw, there's a very good chance he would have got through to the final. And then once you're in the final, when you look at those conditions, I would have had my money on Mark just because of the way he sails in that sort of shit. He came to Sylt early and practiced in that sort of craziness. It's mad. Like, no one does that. It's it's pretty interesting, because now that will be Marcelio's discard. So the worst, in theory, the worst Mark can finish now in Maui is 4th, because his discard now, his worst result is a 4th. So as soon as you go to Maui, if he gets worse than 4th, he just discards it. So if you look at it like that, if Maui's finished, Mark has finished 4th, whatever happens. So Brown, I think, has to finish in the top 2, or maybe even has to win it. I think he might have to win Maui. I'm going to do the maths. I should have already done it. But I think it's
right. So even if Mark doesn't turn up, he still Brasinho's still got to win it to overtake Mark.
I'd have to check that, because he's got 2 wins.
No.
I think so, because Brown's got to discard his Sylt result, and he's already got a 4th in Tenerife. Did he?
Yeah, I can't remember, actually.
I think a 4th in Tenerife. So his worst result now is worse than a 4th. So it doesn't matter. So he will be counting that 4th. Mark's got a 4th in Pozo, so they're equal on that 4th, and then they've both got a a first in Chile. Marc got second in Chile. I'm pretty sure he has to win it, but
Wow.
I think he has to win it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, that's putting the pressure on. What about on the women's side? That was interesting too, because obviously Sol won, and she's still only 15.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts, because I thought she was 15 about 3 years ago. I don't know. Like, what? She's still only 15.
How is she still 15? I honestly say that
it's like every year she's 15. I don't know what's going on. But that's also a huge story as well. I mean, 15-year-olds, and and the women are probably, well, they are like they're as good as they've ever been. If like there's actually some really good talent there as well. So it's I mean, Sol's, sure. I guess she's the the future of windsurfing is in women, isn't she? Yeah. What was that like with on the women's side, Benny? Because I have to admit, I didn't watch all the live stream every day because life is also happening as well. But what was your impressions? I would have liked to, but what was your impression of the women's side as well? What was your thoughts
Sylt
there?
is an animal, but I have to say that day we were doing the wave sailing, it was actually pretty decent. There was opportunity to get good hits, but you had Sylt can also we had a few people in the live booth talking about this. So if you watch the live, I know you probably already heard this stuff, but you cannot understate how difficult it is to sail there. It looks all right and it looks pretty. You just smack that, but you can easily get lost in Sylt. So there's you have to have your repertoire down. And Sarah Keeter just couldn't find the waves. We saw it with a few of the guys as well. She just got out of sync and she just couldn't find the waves. Whereas Sol, she was just not holding back. She'd get an early jump in and then she was just coming up like bang, bang. And you were just like, okay. And she was keeping speed. Like I said this in the live, it's like she has a way when you see her sailing anywhere, she is one of the faster sailors. And that usually translates well to Sylt, because you've got to keep speed. If you're a slow sailor in Sylt, you're going to get smashed because you've got to hit the force with as much force with yourself, because otherwise you just get owned really quickly. So
what board was she using?
I guess she was using that pyro-y thing. I guess the onshore board. I would guess. Again, I don't know. I'm not up on the stuff, but it's definitely interesting to. I was sitting, I actually commentated with Leonard Neubauer, obviously top last year's world champion, won Sylt, and he was saying he thought Sol was going to win it. We saw it, and we saw it coming. It wasn't, Alexia, she made the problem for herself really, because she basically looked to get her back loop in before having any wave rides, and it took her a long time to find that back loop. And it cost her, because I think if she'd have got a couple of waves in earlier and just a forward, she probably could have found herself in that final, or maybe approached it differently, because she has to remember in Sylt with 2 waves, which are hard to get, and 1 jump, the advantage is getting those waves in if you can find something. And the problem is you can find something quickly sometimes, but equally you could also have a whole heat where nothing lines up and you can't quite get in sync. Victor in the early rounds was just killing it, like in the quarterfinals and stuff. He'd found, like, in Dieter van Dijken, I've got to shout out to him. He was sailing so good in those conditions. And he found, sometimes you just find a little nugget on the beach where the sand is right for the tide and it's lining up, and you basically can just keep working that little point. And if you're not in and you're not found your little moment, you can find yourself in broken up waves and funny angles, and it just always works away from you. And you can usually see it. People get dialed in and then they just start ripping it. And Dieter was standout. I thought Victor was standout. Moritz really stand out in the not the final day, but the leading up. And obviously Pare, they were the guys winning the heats. Obviously, Brown looked good, but he didn't look quite on it. Like, he didn't look. He got some good backside turns. He missed a few 360s, missed a few things, and he just didn't quite look there. Obviously, he's a fucking amazing sailor, and he was getting through, but he just didn't look like he had that extra bit. Like in Pozo this year, he looked amazing. I thought Brown. I thought he stepped up, like the best I've ever seen him sail Pozo. In Sylt, he looked all right, but he didn't look like he was going to win for some reason.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah,
this is
okay.
visually watching. Costa, you never know with Costa. At moments, but still, wasn't getting it. I thought Dieter looked really good in that. If
Yeah.
we'd have gone to the final on that day, Dieter was in the mix. Like those 4 riders, I thought Moritz, Pare,
Yeah, no.
Dieter, and
He's a solid sailor, isn't he? When I watch him, he's really he seems to be moving around fast everywhere. I don't know. He's sort of just is all over
and
the
you
shop.
look at his freestyle. He absolutely stomped it. And that shouldn't be a surprise. He's an ex-freestyle world champion. But as we were saying to Leonard, he's kind of reinvented himself as a wave sailor now. And now, almost by default, you associate him with wave sailing rather than freestyle, even though he was a freestyle world champion. Bit like Brown, won a freestyle world title before did anything in the waves, really. He was smashing the freestyle. So it's interesting. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of stories. And the other thing, I mean, you mentioned
update, 15 minutes, Pare, maybe.
Oh, okay, cool. You mentioned Leonard, and obviously with the freestyle, that was also interesting to watch because obviously the judging was done through the drone, which it seems to work good, right? That's something that hasn't really been done much before. Is that true?
Never.
Was that a
no?
Never been,
it's never been judged off a TV. Sometimes they might use it for reference if something has been missed or it was done on the side, and they have to kind of check if it was one-handed or check something, but not for actual specifically judging two tunes.
But it was good having George when you had George in with you at the commentator. He's actually really good at just I don't know. I mean, because the thing with freestyle is, I guess I can probably speak on behalf of quite a few people here. I don't do a lot of freestyle. I mean, I'm sort of doing other things. So when I watch it, I'm kind of, I feel like an outsider looking at a different sport almost. They're doing moves I don't even know the names of half the time. So to have somebody there just actually explaining just some layman terms or just the difficulty of certain things, because often you're watching something and you just see sail and board go flipping all over the place. And I was like, I don't even know what they just did.
But it's true. It's really true. It's like if you ever watch skating on a ramp or something, and they do one thing one way, one thing the other, grab a board, and to the normal person, you don't really know the intricacies or the difficulty, and you're like, that looked the same as the other one. And I can imagine it's the same for freestyle. And the only reason you know that is when you stand with someone like my mom, my dad, and they're watching, they go, oh, that guy just did and you're like, well, that was totally different to the other thing. There's no. Some people don't see the backward versus the forward. It's because they're not looking for it. It just looks like a flip. So it is quite interesting, but it was really impressive.
It's also interesting too, because I find, I mean, from my limited experience being here in Australia, we don't have too many freestylers here, but you get a few traveling Euros that come to Geraldton and they seem to like Coronation Beach because it's pretty flat and all the whole thing. But it almost seems like each of the different disciplines of windsurfing, whether it's racing, waves, or freestyle, it seems to attract a certain different type of personality a bit. Like the freestylers, it's almost a bit more like that, you know what I mean? Like it seems to attract a certain type of person. It's a bit different or something, isn't it? There's something unique about it. I mean, I'm probably generalizing a bit. Well, I don't know, but it's you're either into it or you're not. Like you have to be attracted because the amount of time you've got to put into that, it's nuts, isn't it?
It was interesting. I think last time I was saying I'd just been for a freestyle session. I haven't been for a long time, and I was. It was surprised me how many moves I'd remembered. But then you think how long it took you to learn these moves and ingrain these moves. It was a freaking hard graft back then. But it's rewarded because you don't forget. It's like, you lose a bit of confidence in certain things and certain moves maybe. But it was interesting that it made me realize that maybe we should be promoting a bit of freestyle. Not the necessarily big power moves you see now with these guys, what they're doing, but some of the old stuff, which is more like Spock's, Grubbies, Willy Skip, that type of era when I first started. I remember being super fun because it was all very achievable. It's rewarding, especially if you've got flat water. But you do
Well, it's
need
a good
bit of water.
point. It is a good point because I think from my point of view, looking at the freestyle, I'm thinking they're so far beyond my capabilities that I'm kind of almost thinking, well, that's just a road too far. Whereas if, those other moves you're talking about, you sort of think, oh, yeah, I mean, I could give that a crack or whatever. But
no, but that's what I think. I thought about it for Windsurfing TV thing, Send It Academy stuff. And I was thinking, you know what? Why don't we still promote as if like we talk about Spock as if it's nothing or a grubby, and it's not easy. I remember when I was learning them, but it's achievable in not such a massive stretch of time. But you've got to put the work in. So it's you might be seeing some old school freestyle coming into the channel because it kind of motivated me the other day.
That's cool. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Dan was loving the freestyle coverage. Yeah, I agreed. I was actually really interested in that. Also, Leonard, when you hear him speak, he's a real good ambassador for the sport too, isn't he? He's a very, he's very professional. He's very good. He's quite. I mean, look, they all are, but obviously Leonard won, so I got to hear from him a bit more. He's a very good ambassador. I thought
he is the ultimate professional. That guy.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I've watched him come up through the 14, 15 all the way through, and who did we have? George. It's probably George saying like after he had his knee injury and he went to Red Bull and they helped fix him up, and I think he got a lot of knowledge about looking after yourself, training right, and and he came out of that injury so strong. Not everyone comes out of injury strong, and it's interesting. Pare had a very similar thing. Yes, he was already at a good level, same with Leonard, but after his injury, it's almost like you have this time to reflect and this time to get hungrier and more motivated. Like some people don't do that. I guess it must depend on your age or ambitions and stuff. But it was interesting because I've seen a few people come back much stronger after their injuries more recently, which is good to see, because sometimes you see with footballers and stuff, they almost go the other way when they just keep having a knock-on effect of another injury, and then it gets you mentally as well.
Yeah, no, it's you got to build up a good mindset to bounce back from an injury, especially like windsurfing. It's pretty physical. Tomasz is saying here, just going back to what we were talking about with the whole sitch with Brow and Marc. He's saying Brow has to win and Marc outside top 3 for Brow to get the title. Otherwise, Marc will be world champion, quoting Dieter on that.
Yeah,
Brow
that
has to
sounds
win
right.
and Marc outside top 3.
Because if he's second, I think that 4 from Marc is enough for him to win. But if Brown wins and Marc isn't in the top 3, that's it. I mean, it obviously Brown is going to be really exciting. And the thing is, the scary thing is, I was saying this to Marc before Sylt, it's like you've got to do damage in Sylt. You have to, because if you leave it up to Maui, there's so many wild cards. They're not necessarily wild cards because some of them do the world tour, but there's still wild cards that are not, you just go through them. Bernd Rodiger, Kamiju Ban, although we've got to speak about Kamiju Ban because he nearly just lost his ear. We'll talk about that in a second. That was crazy. We will definitely talk about that. But you can literally list, Morgan Rowe. They're not wild cards because they're but they're not challenging for that title, but they're all total Maui, legends. They could take anyone out. Kai Lenny's, like I could list probably 8, 9, 10 guys that could cause massive upsets. Antoine Martin, maybe not having his best year, didn't have his best Sylt, he's still there. He could win Maui, and if he's in that run. So there's so many people, like if you have to go to Maui and win, it's difficult. If it's jumping in Maui, there's an advantage for sure, but it's also an advantage for Marc as well, because I think if there's jumping involved, they jump ahead a lot of those guys who are very wave specific. If you add if you can do doubles, it's windy enough to do doubles, then Brown and Pare have an advantage over all those guys I'm going to mention, like Kai Lenny, Bernd Rodiger, Kamiju Ban. That double helps, definitely. It's like an advantage.
Yeah, no, I'm really very, very curious to see what happens there. Mario thinks that Sol will be the new queen of women wave sailing. Well,
yeah,
probably hard to argue, especially since she's only
well,
15.
yeah. I mean,
But
she's
who
15.
knows?
She's already won a freaking World Cup. I mean, in some gnarly conditions. You know, it's not like she's lucked out or she hasn't shown progress. She was already going round doubles in Pozo this year. She was doing airs. She was doing an air tackery type thing, push loops already, you know, like, and at 15, how the hell she's still 15, I don't know. But it's ridiculous, like ridiculous. Like it was a matter of time, like when she was going to win one. I didn't think it would be this early, although when you saw that final and she's in it and you're going, it's Sylt and how she was sailing, you were like, well, you couldn't, all bets were off at that point. You're like, she could do it here. She could do it. And she did it with the last wave, I think.
Would it be because I haven't really been around the events like not only like you have, but the standard of women windsurfing, how do you think that has progressed over, say, the last 20 odd years? Because, we had the Marino twins and they seem to be really high level,
They still
and then,
are.
well, yeah, I mean, they still are, but I just meant
mean,
when they burst on the scene, so I'm just, what do you think is happening in the women's side of things?
I think the problem is, and this was for the men as well. For a long time, the tour was very specific. It was literally Pozo, Sylt, and maybe one other if you were lucky. That was literally it. And then that creates this domination, but you cannot write off the level that Dido was at and Abaya was at in those years. They're still like they're my age. So what's that? 47. They were born in 78. And they're still, you look at Dido, still winning Pozo without that motivation.
Yeah, so
they were definitely ahead of their time, which is why they've dominated that so much. But obviously, when you get to 47, it is time for new crowd to come through. And you've seen in the last few years, there has been that new lot coming through. Are they as good as the Morinos? Not quite yet, but will they be? Yes. And when you're seeing, I remember the Morinos, they were doing push loops before 2000. I think they learned. And that was like one of the first wave moves they learned, sort of thing. So what's that? That's 20. They were doing it early as well. So it would have been, they've been pushed obviously over the years, but I think this new group coming through feels like there's a big push coming. And I think Sol is definitely there. Obviously Alexia has got some really mad skills, but had time off to do more studying. So, kind of stagnates a little bit, doesn't keep pushing forward. But then we're seeing some growth this summer when she's had more time. So we're seeing it from a lot of different angles now. But yeah, they were like Morinos were like the Dunkerbeck. They were just that step ahead on a lot of levels. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Oh well, it's interesting to witness what's happening. But Anton had a few comments here. He's obviously at Sylt. He said the commentary on the beach, the Germans were struggling. Many moves were not just commented, and they would just be silent. So obviously talking about freestyle, I guess.
Yeah.
Freestyle.
I mean, the cool thing is with Sylt now, because they were always a bit down. Like the local organisers weren't that bothered about the live stream. They don't give a shit about the live stream. They never have done, because for them, it's all about German media, German news, because that's the big numbers. The live stream for them is like, we're paying all this money and we're getting this many views. But for windsurfing, it's massive. They've always done it, but it's always been a struggle. And then now they've kind of understood that now with the drones and the big TV screens on the beach, they can instantly access what's happening on the water and transmit it to the beach for the actual people at the event. And that's a whole different ballgame for them. Now they're starting to see, okay. Because when you can see, like being a football match, you're there with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But people are watching the screens for replays and stuff like that because it helps enjoy it even more. And that's kind of now what we've got. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially the racing and the freestyle is happening a fair way out, isn't it?
Oh,
talking about.
I was going to say, without the drones, without the TV, you literally are just sat there. You may as well be anywhere in the world. You can't see anything.
Yeah, no. Actually, just talking about that too. regarding the racing. Obviously when it first started, the wind was on the lighter side, and I guess the foil came into its own. I was thinking if that was a fin event, it probably would have been a struggle, right? Not much would have happened. So yeah, that is. I mean, I don't foil myself, and I mean whatever. But that is one good thing about the foil, is that it made those events happen, doesn't it? In that sort of wind.
It would not have happened. There would have been no racing. Pretty sure of that.
Yeah.
So it is for that event. It's amazing. Oh, look who's in the
VIP
building.
has arrived.
Let's introduce
bring him in.
VIP.
Hey, Mark.
Hello, boys. How are you?
Hey, mate. Congratulations on Sylt. That's amazing, mate. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Happy. Really, really happy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So just tell people where you're at the moment, how many bags you've just packed.
Yeah, no, I'm in Sweden at the moment because I left my Maui board.
Frozen in time.
Oh, he's frozen. I mean,
you're back.
Hello?
Sorry, Mark, you just froze, mate.
You look like a...
Yeah, is it working now?
Yep.
Hello?
Try again.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, now? Where did you lose me?
We lost you right at the beginning. You left your Maui boards in Maui.
No. I left my Maui boards here in Sweden.
Oh.
Yeah, so... and some other gear. So I just I'm gonna fly from here from Sweden, and then so I basically just
how many bags are you taking to Maui?
I'm taking 3 bags. I have some booms and mast and extension in Maui already, so that's quite helpful because I'm taking 4 boards and 7 sails, 8 sails because I'm taking double sizes. So it's quite a bit of gear, but it's good that I need to travel with less masts and stuff. So that's good.
And
tell it.
Go on. I'm going to look at the forecast.
Okay. I was going to say, tell us about that last day, Mark, because we were just talking about that before. I just got to see the video shot from all you guys on the water, but looked pretty gnarly. How was it out there?
Yeah, I mean, for me. I was just excited to go out really because my dad came down before me to help me take some gear down to the beach, some boards down to the beach before the skippers. And then before I arrived, he called me already and he was like, oh yeah, they are like saying that it might be too gnarly because the tide's not even like high yet and it's already breaking against the wall, the waves. So, they said it might be too dangerous. So but when I got down to the beach, people didn't seem so motivated or like the top 8 to go out. So we did the skippers and stuff. Then the head judge asked the jet ski guy if it was okay for him to go out in those waves, and the guy was like, yeah, I've been out in much worse stuff. So anyway, for me, I was glad to go out. I'd rather take the chance to take the win or do a podium than just settle with a shared result, right, and not finish the event. So, and anyway, I had been practicing in that. I had been there 3 weeks before that, and I sailed one day that was really similar, and I was by myself. I was slightly smaller, but it was really similar, and I was by myself. So, I was kind of just comfortable, just in my head at least, So
who didn't want to go out? Because there was how many of you was there? There was 8.
8. Yeah, I mean most of them didn't seem so excited to go. I think Philip was like, yeah, fine, we try. But Victor, he was like, oh, it's quite dangerous, and Moritz said the same, and Dieter the same. Dieter was definitely not keen to go out. I could see, in some of the comments he made in the skippers, but I think it's okay, and I think it's really good that we tried at least, and because it paid off. If we wouldn't have tried, we wouldn't have gotten a result, and in the end, I think we got good footage, and regardless of whatever result I finished in, I think it was really good towards the end, and and the crowd and the content we got. So that's
it looked mad, because obviously I wasn't there, so I'm just looking at the video I saw. But as I was saying to Paul before, because like it's so onshore and it's so big, the water was right up to the concrete, which is not usually there. But then you've obviously got the crowd then who had turned up because it's Sunday. So it looked almost like, a surfing event where you've got all the people like in. Did it have that type of atmosphere?
Yeah, it was super cool, because last year when I won, it was, I think, the first day of the event, right? So there was basically not much people, because I seem to remember in the past, like when Victor won or Philip or whatever, there was like all the crowd going to the person that won. And to me, I was like, there was people, but there was not that much people. And this year, it was like, it had the wow factor, because it was like overwhelming, like you had to walk in between the crowds, and then after the podium, everyone was like asking for autographs. A little bit out of my comfort zone, but but it was, it was really cool, and it's nice to have an event, that you feel like the crowd really wants to be there and watch that, and really appreciates what we are doing. So it's nice.
I mean, because it wasn't nice weather, was it? That's always until you go to Sylt and understand the dedication of some of these guys. I don't think it would happen in most places, like where they come out whatever the weather and do support it. It's really cool. It is really cool.
Yeah, and we were talking about going into Maui as well, Mark, but you're in a pretty good footing now, really, because Brasinho, as far as we're aware, basically has to win that event to have a chance of, and you have to fall outside the top three. That was basically what it was, wasn't it, Ben? Is that what we decided was the general?
Probably Mark already knows. I don't know.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, Mark.
I think it would be outside the top 4. Yeah.
Oh, top 4, is it?
Again, I don't know. It's not like I have looked at the scores and stuff, but I'm just guessing because 4 events counting. We have the same results pretty much. Well, we had the same results until now, so it's basically.
Yeah. Well, that's it puts you in a very strong position anyway, doesn't it? So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Not that long ago, you had the injury, then you started winning events, and now you're a bloody good chance to get a world title, mate. So I'm excited for you.
It's like this.
Huh?
Yeah, it's quite nerve-wracking actually.
Oh yeah, how are you feeling?
It's worse than coming into Sylt, because like now you have something to hold on to. It's like
yeah. How are you actually coping with it? Like, what's I'm sure this has been probably a huge dream of yours. You've worked so hard for this. So how do you cope with that? that pressure of wanting to try to achieve that or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I think gonna have to follow along the way and see what happens. Right. Just stay focused and try to stick to what I've been doing, and and then whatever needs to happen will happen. I think But
that's right.
It's
need to keep in control.
It's interesting. I was just saying, when you watch sports athletes, different sports, the first win is always a big one. So like when you won the other year, it's like a domino effect. It gives you that confidence. And I guess the world title thing is as well. You got to put all the work in. One day it clicks, whether it's this year, whether it's whenever. And then it's that confidence thing. You saw with Brasinho, how long has it taken him to get to that bit? And then when he got it, ding, 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 ding. So I think it's everything, isn't it? I think that's the cool thing about it. And all you can do is put the effort in. And if you're good, it's going to happen. That's just the way it goes. Because the head is almost, well, it's not almost, it's probably more important than there's a lot of good windsurfers in the world, and you see a lot of good windsurfers go through the whole system. And there's only a few that cut it at that type of level, and that's winning events. If you're winning events, the next step up is the world title. So it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
And it's a different mindset. Like I said, Brasinho mindset, I guess, coming into Maui is he has to win. So for him, it's actually easy. He doesn't have to think of anything else. It's going to be stressful because he can't afford one mistake, but that's the same if you're going to win a comp, I guess. And for you, it's the same. You can't control anybody else.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I just need to go in there, just doing, my own plan. That's it. There's nothing else I can do.
When is the dates? When's the dates for Maui, out of interest?
It starts on the 13th. And yeah, I don't know this year how it works, if we still need to run, like whenever we start, if we have like a window of 3 or 5 days in a row. I don't know how it is.
Oh, a bit of swell.
Yeah, anyway, the forecast is looking good. There's like a west swell northwest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At high period.
Now. Yeah, it's quite chunky.
Yeah. So it's going to be, interesting, to say the least.
Andy Wood's got some good advice. He says, just win it, Mark.
That's a good advice. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Carry on.
Oh, God.
That's what we're aiming for, right?
Yeah. No, just looking. Peter says they're watching a bit delayed from the stream, but Saturdays is the most viewed live stream in PWA history.
That's good.
Interesting. The Saturday. But there was some sick action on the Saturday. I mean, because obviously we're talking about the Sunday, which was the final day. But for me, the best day as well, because I was obviously there, seeing it all happen. It was fun Sylt, really. It was, it was obviously moving around a bit. You guys had to wait a lot and stop and start. But essentially, we saw some really cool, like, clutch moves because you only got a couple of opportunities in a heat. It's, like, not just you, I mean, everyone. You only get a couple of opportunities. So if you mess them up, it's not like Poser where you might get 4 more goes or something. Sylt, you get 2 goes. And you've got to execute.
And on top of that, we had the shortest heats I've competed in. We had 12-minute heats.
Yeah.
I've never done 12-minute heats in my life. We competed a lot of 13-minute heats this last year. Like we even did 30-minute heats on Maui for the Pro-Am in April. But I'm almost getting used to these short heats now.
I like it.
You like it?
I like it. It's nerve-wracking because there's such a time.
For us competing, it just leaves no room for error, really. It's like you are not in sync. Yeah,
you're gone.
Pretty screwed when the hits are so short. It's like Sylt. Like on the last day, they put up for the semis and the final. They put it up to 16 minutes. And it's a big difference. I had 6 minutes literally that I did nothing. I went back and forth, and then after that it started clicking, But so imagine on a 12-minute heat, it would have left me with 6 minutes to do everything.
So it's tricky, man. It's tricky. It is interesting though. Like it's as a spectator's point of view, like you say, it gives no room for error. And again, I don't mean to go on about my, history and stuff, but when we started doing it was 8-minute heats. Sometimes 3 jumps, 2 waves in 8 minutes, and you were like, you literally you couldn't afford any mistakes. But then it does also make you not try as much because you're scared that you're not going to fill your score sheet, which it shouldn't be like that. But there is something nice. I think it's 2 different sets of competing rules. Like Pozo with a 16-minute heat, it's almost like a free sail. And but Sylt with a 12-minute heat, I can still see it. For anyone who watched the live stream, you will remember this bit because there was a bit where they just cancelled the heat for like the 6th time, and he went down the beach and the camera's in on him and he's there explaining something, and I saw it was Swifty. I know it was Swifty because I can still see his face. I think Alessio. But their eyes went like this. He was talking and they went, and they were looking at each other. I was like trying to understand what was happening just like by telepathic, like what the hell did he just say to them? Because they looked so like shocked and like, what? And I was thinking, what the hell did he say? And then we looked on the live ticker a couple of minutes later and it's like, they've shortened the heats. Because I was like, oh, he's probably going to go down there. It's going to extend the heat. So, in case there's a problem, we don't have to keep cancelling. And then he went down and did the opposite, which, to be honest, they wouldn't have finished that women's final. We wouldn't have got to where we got to. So it was a really good decision. But at the time, it was like...
Actually, I think they even surprised themselves because they thought they were going to have like half an hour more light judging by how the days before went, during the freestyle and stuff. But actually, because it was rainy, it was cloudy, like we lost that half an hour. So by the end of the women's heat, apparently they couldn't see anything anymore.
It was terrible. Honestly, we were in the live booth. We had the little window, and it went from okay to lights out. And we were like, it's not. It's because Leonard was, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm like, it can't happen. You literally couldn't see. It was
night goggles.
How did you feel about that? Because you were obviously, for me anyway, you looked like you were on another. Like you looked like you were in. You looked like you were in the zone. Dieter, I thought, looked in. Moritz again looked in. Victor. You really could see the difference. You all looked like you were really in that zone. And then it's too dark. You angry?
I calculated it before, I was at the house like before my heat, and then I calculated, and I could tell already that we wouldn't have time to finish. So
okay,
before my heat, so I knew we were kind of relying that hopefully we were gonna be able to extend it to the day after.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Message here from Timo Mullen. So sending Mark a massive congratulations. It says here, I'm trying to just decipher. It says, can you explain what you are having to think for wave riding in the final? Like what you were thinking?
Because it was so onshore, I think.
Yeah, for those kind of conditions. Yeah, I mean, it's quite tricky, because you need to deal, it's not like you're sailing Pozo, like you can just, if you fall, you turn around, you go back out again and try again, If you fall, like if you ride the wave to the inside, you're pretty much cooked, so you need to know that you're going to need another 3 to 6 minutes to get out again to be able to have another wave. And so yeah, you kind of need to assess this risk to reward kind of line, because if you go too soft, you know that you're not going to get the score, if you try to just do something and then go out the back. So then you kind of knew that how to calculate with the time that you were going to have time to get another wave, So for example, when I got my highest scoring wave to the inside, I kind of did it, because I already had the little score, and then, I knew I needed something a bit more, that could put a bit more of a dent. So that's why I followed that one to the inside. And then I tried to get out again. I kind of got stuck, like right in front of the wall, and it took me another 3-4 minutes to get out, and I didn't have time to get another wave, So
yeah, I remember that part.
With Sylt, it's not like a normal wave sailing heat like we normally do, You need to count in that you're going to be eating shit on the inside, then you're going to struggle to get out.
Does it ever get like? Sorry, I was going to say, does it ever get like cross off in Sylt? Does it ever get good?
Yeah, but the problem is you have all the tall buildings behind. Like the day before we started, when they were doing the freestyle, it was cross off. The problem is that you feel like the wind's coming from the top.
Okay.
So it's like really weird and gusty. We've competed in the past. I think there's a certain degree when it's like completely side with a little bit of off angle. That one comes through fine. It's still gusty, but that one is good. We competed like that a few years ago. I think it was 2019. And yeah, that was really fun. But as soon as it gets too cross off, then it doesn't really work.
Yeah, the south I think is okay. I think the dead south I think is pretty okay. But then that's when you've seen what was it when on the Saturday it was like southwest, so it was quite on towards the end of the day. But at the morning it was more cross shore. But there was some hell takedowns on that. Like I think the video didn't do it justice. I wanted to see some of those takedowns a bit longer in the edit just to see, because I know you had at least 2 that I can remember. I saw, who else did I see get some? But there was one 360 from you where you got absolutely pole like just.
Yeah, I kind of like spun with the lip and I didn't get like projected in the air, so I just like kind of rolled around, so it just sent me straight to my face. and I actually got my back foot stuck, which is the one that I had surgery on. So I was like, fuck, and I could just feel it like it didn't want to go out. I was like, oh, and then I could feel like this sharp pain on the side. I was like,
oh no. I'm amazed there's not more injuries. I saw some of the, the wipeouts. It's just everyone getting tangled up in their gear, and it's surprising. Is it? Oh, sorry, that's not the comment. I was looking for this comment. Steve said that the PWA video is up to 64,000 views, which is pretty impressive actually when you think about it, because they're all quite unique views, I imagine, and it's for the comp, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's good news. Good news. Jupster is asking Marc, well done, Marc, amazing. What board did you use? Or what board?
On the final, I was actually on a 90-liter, like kind of mix between the Flywave and the Omnia. So it's like, it was a mix between our freewave board and our proper wakeboard, So just to be able to have a bit more upwind planing power, and so it did the job perfectly for that.
Yeah. So when you say there's a mix, is it basically a free wave board with a bit more rocker in it or something? Or like what is it?
Yeah, it's basically like with the rocker of the free wave of the Omnia. And then it has like the little step on the tail, like the Flywave. So the outline is more similar to the Flywave. So then it's like a bit more PVT, let's say.
Yeah. Actually, this is a question that probably both of you can answer, but what effect does Marc, either potentially winning the world title or obviously being very prominent now at the top of the tree, have on Simmer's sales? Like not the actual sales, but the business side of things. I mean, like what effect does that have?
Ask us next year.
Yeah, I mean, but what I'm saying is like obviously it's lifting the. No, but I'm just curious because obviously, brands are obviously looking for winners, and Marc's being a winner at the moment. I'm just wondering, is it, is it? Do you notice it? Like, more people inquiring about Simmer stuff, or is it, or is it still? Yeah, it's too early to tell, is it? Or
well, I'm getting someone saying yes from behind, so. Yes, yes.
Oh, that's cool. Well, that's awesome, isn't it? I mean, it's because that's the other thing too. I mean, you're obviously your goal is to win the to win world titles and events and so forth. But it's almost like the business game is almost like another competition happening as well. So when you're selling more gear, that's satisfying for you too, Marc, I guess, isn't it? Because it's like two things going on at once, isn't it? In a way. Yeah.
And I think I was speaking about that with Ben yesterday. And for me this year, I think the big difference maker also is the gear. Like in the past, I've had to think about the gear might react like this here or that. So you kind of knew the ups and downs. But now I'm basically just sailing without thinking, just because the gear reacts to what I want to do,
Yeah.
So this is super nice, and I think it tells a lot also. Like part of the results is because the gear is so good, So I think in that sense, this is playing a big part,
Yeah. No, it's awesome. It's good to hear, mate. Good to hear. There is, Benny. It's all helps you, mate.
I get this guy who's kind of motivated by gear. So then, like, if you then motivated by gear, you spend all this effort making it better, then the trickle on effect, and then he's happy, so he makes better gear because he wants to. So that's the guy you want in your team. That's the guy you want. He's in Sweden now. That's like the cool thing for me. I think as a Simmer team rider, you're like, you've got a guy who just loves that side of it. Not all windsurfers are like that. And again, you see it in different sports. Yeah, some guys are not into it. They just have a board. They don't want to think too much. I mean, it was really interesting for me when we did do you remember the Finn podcast we did with Marc? And then we did a podcast with Morgan. in a row.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because Morgan, one of the best sailors in the world, but you could tell he's into his gear, but he doesn't like to think about it too much, you know. And again, everyone's got their own different ways of doing it. So I just thought it was interesting. You know, everyone's got different theories and stuff.
Actually, talking about fins as well, you know, I'm obviously using Goya gear, and I got the boards, and I was, you know, I set the fins up how I thought it was, you know, should be good, whatever. And then I started sailing it, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, the board turns, but I just couldn't quite turn it the way I wanted. And I kind of thought, oh, it's the board or blah, blah, blah. But then I thought, oh, well, before I completely blame this board or myself for that matter, I'm certainly not at Mark's level, but you know, I started playing around with the fin position, and it was actually quite amazing the difference it makes. I mean, I know I'm probably stating the obvious here, but for anyone out there who's never touched their fins in their board and wants to see if you can alter the performance, definitely just play around with the fin positions and the mast track and the foot track. Just try it, because it's quite interesting the effect it has. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, but I think a lot of windsurfers. Oh yeah, I don't have to tell Mark. Mark's a fin aficionado, but I think for a lot of windsurfers, they just stick the fins in the board and don't really move them, huh? Especially the wave boards. So I mean, that's my impression.
That's me.
Yeah, well,
that's Mark.
Yeah, it was cool though. Eh? No, it was good. It was good. I like that that fin podcast we did. Anton's asking, do you know if anyone captured the moment? I don't know about this, but a wave came over the judge tower onto the stage during the winners ceremony. Is that?
I heard the live scoring all disappeared because a wave hit the judges.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, they had to score everything by paper.
Yeah.
You know, and I was out there looking at my watch. I was like, I can't see they had this flag system that was a screen, an LED screen.
That went.
And I was out there and I couldn't see the light. I was like, what's going on? And then suddenly yellow flag appeared and then blackout again. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just look at my watch then.
Yeah,
it was pretty gnarly
because of the waves hitting against the judge tower.
Yeah.
With Maui, Mark, which sailors are the ones that you most fear maybe not too strong a word, but which sailors are you most worried about if you're getting into a heat there? You know, which ones don't you want in your heat, I guess, you know? Is there,
I think there's a lot of the locals, right? Like Lenny, Levi, Graham, if he's on the heat, like on the contest, I think he might be also. Who else? Yeah, I mean, I saw even Bush was sailing amazing, you know. So if he gets on the bend, even him, you know, of course, Rao, Bend, Morgan, you know, there's so many.
It's like there's a lot in there.
Basically everybody. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like an event that you can't take anything for granted. I think anyone, you know, like. A little bit like Sylt, you know, it's a place that has decided world titles and has ruined world titles in first heats, you know.
Yeah, so, 100%.
No, but it's just because the level is also so high, you know, and you have all those locals that sail amazing. So,
I think anyone, no matter who you are, going to Maui, this is not meant for you to hear, Mark, but you don't want to be going to Maui knowing you need to get some, because it's just such a difficult event. And that goes for Brown as well. You know, he's got to go there and win. That's like, even for him, that's not an easy task. It's going to be a very interesting event, I think, to watch. I'm quite excited to watch it.
Actually, what was it? Oh, what's that?
I'm excited for the outcome. Just when
Just
when I get the dice rolling, get competing, and
And
what I thought.
The forecast at the moment, is it for jumping or riding, you think? Because you've had a quick look. It's not windy, is it?
I think it's like 5.3, 5.0, maybe 4.7 if it accelerates.
Okay.
I think it's going to be.
So what is the forecast at the moment? Like, how big is it looking, Mark, or is it?
I don't know. I think it's looking pretty solid, I would say.
Yeah,
because
cool.
the swell is like really high period. The only thing is that it looks pretty westerly, at least how I saw it, But so then sometimes it gets blocked by Molokai, so it doesn't come as big, or it takes a little bit longer for the sets to come.
Yeah.
So, and it closes out a little bit more also. So yeah.
Okay.
So I guess it could be, that it's like this average size, and suddenly maybe you get those bomb sets like closing out maybe. So I don't know. It could be fun also.
Yeah, I guess it's see what happens. What I thought was interesting too was last year, I remember Kai Lenny, because obviously, he hasn't won the event. It was obviously one of his things he'd love to do. But I had I think he even mentioned it on one of his social media posts that when he exited the event, I think he sort of said something like, "Oh, I don't know if I'll do that again," because I feel like he wants to win it, but it just falls short. But I wasn't sure if he was going to do it this year, but it seems to me that he's definitely entered again. So obviously he's still trying to keep the dream alive there. Yeah, but he's amazing to watch out there. Thomas is asking, maybe Andy, he says here, Mark, how long will you get to train in Maui before the event?
I think it's only like 3-4 days actually, because we're starting on Monday, and then so I'm flying out tomorrow, and I get there at night. So, and the day after doesn't really look windy, so I think it's really going to be 3-4 days of training, and then we start the event. So tight.
Yeah.
They put it pretty close together. So I'm happy I went there for the Maui Pro-Am for the 4-star event in April to get some training in, and a bit of confidence also. It was really good coming second to that event, I think, as a confidence booster, because Maui historically was always my worst event, and I spent so much time and effort there training, so I was always like a little bit like, come on, want to have a good result, because I know I can still well there also. So it was really good to come second, and kind of boost the confidence a little bit, and just to know that I'm capable of doing it.
Tomasz is asking, the Maui event is IWT run or PWA? Before I get to the next question, I mean, it's both, right?
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
It's both, but I guess it's more like organized by IWT side.
Yeah.
But it's both.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a dingle, because their events are always a dingle. So
yeah.
Okay.
And it's a wave run, so kind of makes sense.
Yeah. He's asking, will there be a live stream? But I mean, that is the plan. I believe it's the same crew that did it last year, so he did a good job. Those guys. So fingers crossed. It's I
heard some rumors that there might be no live stream, but I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is like, when I heard it, I thought it was odd, because it's a 5-star band, so in theory we should have.
I didn't hear that, because the last I heard it was. So that's interesting. My goodness.
I mean, I thought there was, but then in Sylt I heard like someone say that there wasn't. So I was like, really? I
heard like there was one day.
One day of live stream?
No, I don't know.
Oh.
The Chinese whispers starts going around. You don't know what to believe. So I always just think you just got to wait till the event, because whatever we say, we're not going to have any fix on it. But in theory, they should have it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought, right? So I'm hoping.
Yeah. It's part of the PWA or whatever rules that if it's a 5-star, it should have a live stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
So that's why I thought to hear that. So anyway.
Yeah. Is there a live stream, or we just answer that? Who's commentating if not Ben? Well, I guess it's probably Kai Kachidorian, I assume, if that's that he seems to be in Maui doing that. So another question here. Are there people using live scoring their smartwatches? Is that illegal?
Yeah, in theory, it's not legal. If there's someone sneakily doing it, I don't know. But it's there's a rule that we're not allowed to do it. I guess just to keep it more fair for everyone. I guess if we had like WSL, you know, that we get given Apple watches, you know, and then for everyone's the same, then it's fine. But in theory, you cannot.
Andy said we need to get hold of. He's got hold of our Postmate. Get the iPhone
true,
out.
actually. If there's no live stream, that's what's going to happen. Then.
No, it can't. It can't be. If that's it, I'm going to be slightly frigging. Let me just see. Because just before you go, Mark, 'cause I know you've got to pack and finish. Have everyone seen this just to warm you up before we go to Maui?
Yeah,
you seen this, Mark? Oh,
yeah,
man, he's lucky he didn't get decapitated.
Yeah,
I know, it's nuts.
Wow,
it's crazy.
For anyone listening audio only, I'm just showing the Instagram clip of Kamiju Ban doing like a bottom turn as a kiter goes in front of him, and then I'm trying to work out what happens at the beginning. Does the kiter just lose it?
I think he catches a chop and goes over the front.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He loses it, and then Kami's just holding his ear at the end, going.
The crazy thing is, for anyone who's been to Hookipa, it's really not a very large area where you sail in. You know, like it's. And it's hard to believe that kiters are out there mixing it with the windsurfers and everything. It's just a recipe for disaster. Like when you're there, but for some reason this still happens. Yeah, that's gnarly. Like
he's so lucky, man.
It could have ended so much worse for both of them, actually. Even
horrendous.
I actually, with the whole kite thing, you know, I think one of the big fears is just getting absolutely, you know, a string wrapped around your neck or something, and then the kite taken off, isn't it? I mean, you just get tangled up in that bloody thing.
Look.
Yeah, I know. It's just
that. Oh my God! It's good job he ducked his head.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. I mean, there's also, but when I saw that clip though, I was sort of thinking, Kami's pretty ballsy. He's like, there's a kiter right in front of him, and he's just still gone for the aerial. Like it's pretty.
They don't care though. Some of those boys.
I thought that was interesting, but yeah, I don't know. It's apparently it is a thing, isn't it, Mark? Maybe you know it, to keep it. There's a bit of a battle about, you know, whether or not the kiter, you know, trying to kick the kiters out of there or something like that. Is that true? Or
I don't know. I think they, like most of them, believe that you know, the same way we have the rule with the surfers, that if there's 10 surfers at the point, we cannot go out windsurfing. So I think they believe that it should be the same as that for the. Oops, what happened? Yeah.
Basically, the guys who are doing the outside painting have just gone through a wire, so I'm connected to my phone. I've got limited time.
Yeah. But I think it used to be like that in the past. You know, like when there was 10 windsurfers, they couldn't be out there with the kite. But I think they changed it, and now we are all in the same pack.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, really? They don't go kiters, go down to lanes.
Yeah. So I think now we're all the same, and I think that everyone would like to go back to the old rule.
That might change. That might change it, because I mean, it used to be 5 windsurfers are out. Then you had to go. The kiters couldn't kite there; they had to go to lanes. And it's the same. If there's 10 surfers out, you can't go windsurfing.
Yeah.
But this video of Kami, that's you know, there's another bit of evidence that might change things a bit. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But yeah, no, it's yeah. Sorry, were you gonna say something, Benny?
No, I was going to say I might have to go because I'm going to die. I'm literally got no power. Everything's I can't. I'm quite impressed it's still being off this phone because I've got not much signal here. Apologies.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, we can wrap it up anyway. But we've heard from Mark, so. But best of luck, Mark. Thanks so much for coming in, mate. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. No.
Good luck.
definitely be watching, and hopefully there is a live stream, Ben. And if there's not, then yeah, we might.
If anyone's got an iPhone 17 and it's going to be in Maui on the 13th to the 17th, you could be the new hero. I think from the donations from everyone last time, I think he did all right. So, you know, it's not an unpaid job if you're doing a good job.
Nah, but I'm hoping it was just like a bad rumor, and
Yeah,
that we're gonna have it, because, as you said, it's like part of the 5-star deal. So
Yeah.
hopefully it was just someone mumbling nonsense.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Yeah, good luck, dude.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Safe
Have a
trip.
good
You
afternoon.
don't get smashed on the baggage.
Yeah.
Cool. See you guys.
Yeah.
It's that time of the week then again. Sit back, relax, we got the brain of Ben. No need to stress, in the house is Van Bellen. The game is windsurfing, you can't yell them or tell them. We get the news, the views, the win biz. The brand's gear, tips plus the world's best quiz. The Cobbs, PWA. We're professionals without the pay. There's nothing in pole dancing that we won't chat. From tandem boards to a windsurfing cat. It's your one-stop shop for a laugh and listen. Tune in each week or you'll be doing the missing.